talk to you today by today's media. So this is our fourth in the series of interviews with some of the well-known figures in our industry and well-known to our Women in Wheels network. So my name is Pippa Shepherd, Head of Customer Engagement at Arkan Legal. If you don't know anything about us, I'm not sure where you've been, but we are a leading software provider for the wills and probate industry. We offer everything from digital fact finds, instruction taking and confirmation digitally, intestacy lead generators, as well as our fantastic drafting tool. But we're not here to talk about this today. We're here to talk to the lovely Sam. Now, this is the fourth interview in the series. So the other interviews are all available to watch on our website and on the today's Wills and Probate website. So we had interview one with Jade Garney. Jade was incredibly honest and shared how she'd overcome adversity to get to where she is today. We heard from the lovely Michelle and Eleanor and discussed the subject of resilience. You know, we work in a tough industry that can take its toll, and it was wonderful to get a lot of advice from those two very successful ladies. And interview three, we took a different take on it, and we explored charity and charitable giving in the sector with the lovely Lucinda from Remember a Charity during Remember a Charity Week. So today we're talking to Sam. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you very much.
Those of you in the Women in Wheels network will no doubt have been looking forward to this one, as Sam is a very active and loved member in Women in Wheels. So let me tell you a little bit about Sam, to spare her blushes. So Sam is a genealogist, and she's the genealogist behind ProGen Research, as you can see behind her there. But what some of you might not realise is that Sam is a qualified lawyer. She graduated from the Chartered Institute of Legal Executives, specialising in probate law and the laws of succession. But Sam has now been involved in genealogical research for over 16 years, and working with law firms whilst also employed by dedicated research businesses. But in 2016, set up her very own business, a ProGen Research. So first of all, Sam, today we're talking about curiosity and initiative as our key theme. But can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and how curiosity and your initiative has led you where you are today? You know, were you like that as a child? You know, where it's a little bit about your curious nature, should I say, and where
my curious nature, or my nosiness. Some might call it. No, I'm an only child, so I didn't really sort of have anybody to sort of feed off at home. So I've always been really curious about people and getting to find, you know, the little nuggets of things about people that really interest me. And I would say I've been like it since I was a kid. So that sort of followed me through as being an adult, which is why I love coming to networking events or going out or just meeting new people and finding out about what makes people tick, basically, and finding that little bit of common interest that you can link in with somebody and just sort of have a little bit of a play with them, if you like. I don't take life particularly seriously, life itself.
I'd never have noticed that, sir.
Really? I thought I'd kept it well hidden. You know, things that need to be taken seriously, I will, but life in general, you know, it's too short. We're only here apparently once, so I'm just going to have fun, basically, and see what I can get out of it.
So, I mean, curiosity, I mean, you must need curiosity and initiative in your day-to-day job. I mean, I find genealogy fascinating. You know, I think I've said that to you before. And, you know, one of the things I really want to do is look at my family tree when I've got some time, probably when I retire now. But it always looks so interesting. And that's the family side of it. And we can come back and ask you some advice on that later. But what does your day-to-day work life look like when you're a probate researcher and genealogist?
It varies. I mean, some days I can come in and think, right, okay, today I'm going to do this, this, and this. Get in, open the emails, and go, okay, forget that. I won't be doing that then. So it's, I mean, a regular day is coming in, checking emails, seeing if there's any quick inquiries I can get done, like bankruptcy searches and things. Process any quotes, do the background research for quotes, get those sent off. React to any posts that's been slid under my door, and just sort of pick up on what I was doing the day before, or Sometimes there's networking things to do, or it's every day is completely different. But the nub of it is getting engrossed in a research project. Absolutely love going, right, I've got my coffee, I've rolled my sleeves up, I'm going in, stick the radio on, and I'm in. And hours fly by, absolutely fly by. And I can be sat here and go, oh, God, I'm hungry. And you look at the time, you think, wow, it's 2 o'clock, I completely missed lunch.
Yeah.
And when you're actually focusing on a project, or you're looking at emails, or speaking to beneficiaries on the phone, or clients on the phone, time just absolutely flies by. So no day is the same as the other, but I absolutely cherish each and every one that I come into my little office here and just do what I love. Love it.
I mean, it must be amazing, because you must get to really know people and know families, and learn some really interesting stuff. I mean,
oh yeah.
So you must have that curious nature's coming out there again, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Learning about different families. I thought my family was a bit odd, but the families I speak to, I think, do you know what? Actually, we're not too bad. And every family is the same. Oh, we don't speak to so and so. And you get it would be more odd if everybody got on. So there's always one black sheep.
Yeah.
But it's that speaking to people and getting to get information out of them about the family that perhaps sometimes I don't know, despite the research I've done.
Yeah.
Oh, did you know about Thingy? Oh, yeah, they were illegitimate, or they moved to Timbuktu. And you go, and I'm quickly sort of, like a swan, trying to go, yeah. And inside I'm going, crap, who are they? But then, it's only from speaking to people you get to know other parts of the family, that just searching records and census entries and this, that, and the other, traditional genealogy, it won't get you. So it is the talking to beneficiaries that gets the nuggets.
And again, being curious, asking those questions to get that information out. Yeah. Has that ever got you into trouble, Sam?
Not yet.
Have you got any stories you could tell us? Is there any amazing finds, or from your research, hidden millions that you've been able to find somebody to give them to, or funny stories, or?
Yeah, there was one. I was given a test case, and it had been knocking about the client's office for donkey's years. And it was a lady from Cardiff. Her and her husband had moved to South Africa, and donkey's years later, the husband had died. They'd had a child out in South Africa. He was of an age where he was working, got his own life. So widow came back to Cardiff, where she was living, and unfortunately she died. But I think it was the niece sort of dealt with the estate, and they thought that widow's son was long gone. They thought he was dead somewhere in South Africa.
Yeah.
And they said, can you try and find evidence of him being dead?
Yeah.
So don't quite know how I'm going to do that. I'll go out digging. And so I've got sort of contacts all over the world that I speak to for doing different business research. Got in touch with South African contacts and said, can you help? So they gave me an old address and a phone number. And I said, oh, in for a penny.
Give it a go.
So wrote to the address, phoned the number, left a message. Right, okay, fine. Put that to one side for a few weeks, go back to it. Phoned the number again, and a man answered. I was like, oh, wasn't expecting that. He said, oh, yeah, I got your voicemail. I'm the fellow that you're after. I just thought, I knew Mum had died, but I just thought that there wasn't anything to be dealt with. I was like, well, your family actually think you've been dead for 20 odd years? Oh, I better get in touch then, hadn't I? Well, yeah. So I was able to go, that son that you thought was dead, got him. He's alive and well. Yeah. So it's things like that you think, oh, right, okay, this is what I'm looking for, and actually completely different direction. Got him. Yeah, and, like you say, with families, there was one a few weeks ago, and speaking to a relative, and they said, oh, about, I think it was a great aunt Annie or something. She was the eldest of umpteen children. And she had a son. I was like, oh, no, I didn't know. Oh, after she'd married. No, before she married. And the son's father was actually her father. So it was like, oh, okay, right. So this poor lad's father was actually a grandfather as well. So it was all a bit, yeah. So it's, different families have different things in their backgrounds that sometimes they don't want known about. Yeah. But I'd managed to get hold of the right relative who went, oh yeah, it's quite well known in the family. Like, Christ for that, I haven't got to break that to anybody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, or sometimes, I do family verifier family trees.
Yeah.
So for intestate cases where somebody comes in and, oh, dad's died, I'm the only son. And a client sent me one and said, oh, can you just make sure that is the case? Yeah. But what the son didn't know was that dad previous had been married and had a whole other family that this son didn't know about.
Nothing about.
Yeah.
So suddenly he's got to share his estate with him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the good news is Christmases are going to be lovely now, aren't they? You've got a whole other family. Bad news. You've got to split your inheritance. Yeah. But I do the report and then go, ooh, over to the client. Go, bye.
Yeah, so I mean, you do really have to be curious to make sure that you've covered everything, don't you?
Everything, yeah.
Tell me, I mean, obviously you qualified as a lawyer. What made you decide to go into your line of work? How did you get into it?
So I was working at a solicitor's in Norwich and I was doing my ILX qualification at the same time.
Yeah.
I've always adored history, loved it ever since I was a kid. And I was doing our family tree on the side anyway.
Yeah.
And Mum phoned me one day and she said, oh, have you seen that programme, Air Hunters?
Oh, Air Hunters, yeah. I used to watch that years ago.
Yeah, I was like, no, Mum, I'm at work. So I recorded one morning, got home, watched it, and was like, oh, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to the age of 35 and you realise what you want to do in life.
Yeah.
And so I look back now, such a cheeky sod, I really was. I sent my CV off to a company in Ipswich who do the air hunting work.
Yeah.
And literally said, so what about it? And they went, yeah, all right then. Oh no, it's happened.
Yes.
So yeah, that's how I got into it. I left the solicitors I was working at and worked at this firm in Ipswich for 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was
that program.
16 years ago.
Say I was where was I? I was at home doing something. I mean, I must have been working, but yeah, no, I mean, it's been on for years, hasn't it? Yeah, it's what got me interested into it, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, obviously you've moved and you've started your own business, you've taken that initiative there. What has there been anybody that's been a big influence in your career, any mentor, a particular client that helped propel you forward, other than Air Hunters, obviously, and watching that? But, somebody who's changed the way you think and work, or, the importance of other people within your career?
My old firm that I was working for at the time, they have been really supportive.
Yeah.
So, I do quite a bit of work with them, which is lovely.
Yeah.
And lots of people who I've sort of got to know through networking, especially the Women in Wills, and I'm a member of the Norwich Business Women's Network as well, that a lot of lawyers go to. I think the main person that I still sort of look at as a shining beacon, if you like, as somebody I aspire to be, is my old art teacher from high school.
Oh, really?
I didn't do art, I'm not artistic, but as a person, she was just absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
It was a sticky part of my growing up. Parents are divorced and all that. So she really did take me under her wing, and we were more like, you sort of look back now and you think, oh, safeguarding. Yeah. But actually, she took me under her wing and we became more like friends.
Yeah.
And I'm still in touch with her now.
Lovely.
So yeah, I sort of look to her as somebody to aspire to be. But yeah, my old firm have been really supportive. Contacts and clients that I made in the firm previous to me starting the business, they've been really supportive as well. So yeah, my peers, you lovely girls at the Women in Wills, I just adore.
It's interesting to say that you've got a worldwide network as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that must be fascinating, getting involved in other countries and
yeah, and yeah, when you find a person, say in Australia or South Africa or America, Canada, wherever, that you can literally email and go, right, I've got this one. How's about that?
Yeah.
And you just bounce off each other, and you know that they'll do the best for you.
Yeah.
So you can then in turn do the best for your client as well.
Yeah.
So no, it's a lovely network, and I find that private client work is I think mainly populated by women as well.
Yeah.
So that helps.
Yeah.
Too.
Absolutely. So I mean, one of the things, I'm hearing is that the networking, so being the curious and take your initiative to get involved in networking is a key thing for you, and that would be something you would recommend for people listening today, or maybe people that are starting out on their careers.
Oh, yeah.
We try and help within the Women in Wheels network through these interviews.
Yeah.
It's something that get involved, come to the events or get involved.
Absolutely. Yeah, because it is literally not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's all about sort of having those connections not just in work, but in life, isn't it?
Yeah.
That can help you along your way doing things. So
but you hadn't have taken that initiative after watching Air Hunters, if you hadn't have taken that initiative and gone along and said, you know what, that's what I want to do, I'm just going to go and take the initiative, write to them, see if there's something there, you wouldn't be sat where you were today.
No,
so
absolutely not.
What I'm hearing is a message is don't be afraid to just take that initiative. Be curious, ask the question, it doesn't hurt. And nobody's going to send you away and say no. They might say, no, you can't do it now, but if you don't ask, you never get.
Exactly. And I'd rather be on, sounds morbid, I'd rather be on my deathbed and go, oh, well, I gave it a go, rather than, I wonder what would have happened if.
Yeah.
But I went to see Eddie Izzard on Friday night, and
love Eddie Izzard.
And the sort of the because she wants to go into politics, and she said, basically my mantra is be brave and curious, not fearless and suspicious. And I thought, you've just got to go for it, because what's going to happen? You've got one of two chances, haven't you? It'll either go well, three chances. It'll go well, it'll go meh, or it'll bomb.
Yeah.
But at least you've had a go.
I saw Eddie Izzard years ago, about 25 years ago, I think it was, something along those lines. And I've never known anybody make so much fun out of which supermarket lane to go in. Is that one going to be quicker? Is that one going to be quicker? And I've just always remembered it. It's absolutely fabulous. But anyway,
when somebody needs the space, go, I left my aura there.
Yes, I could have gone 2 minutes quicker if I'd gone over there. But anyway, so has there been any big challenges in your career today? Has there been a challenge that you faced, either because you're a woman or just generally you're new to a business, or what challenges did you have to overcome to get to where you are today?
When I think about it, it all went really quite smoothly. Because I was working, so I'd left my last research job, if you like. I'd left that, and I was working in an HR department of a local college. Hated it, absolutely hated it, and I so missed doing the research. Absolutely, really missed it. And I said to friends over a few gins one weekend how much I missed it, and they said, well, if you've still got the skills and you've still got the contacts, why don't you start up on your own? Why don't I? So the next week, set up a Facebook page, spoke to somebody who knew a web designer, spoke to somebody else who knew somebody else, and I sort of went, oh, okay, right. So just started it off really small whilst I was still doing the full-time job.
Income coming in,
so it's like, right, okay, I can do that. I can get the business going of an evening and weekends.
Yeah.
And gradually the transition of I've got to pack in my full-time job because this is really taking off. Yeah, it wasn't even really that much of a challenge as such. I think part of it was making people realise that, yeah, okay, so I've started a business in our box bedroom. I'm not playing. I'm looking at this as a business.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not just farting around looking at the family trees.
Yeah.
This is my focus. This is what I want to do as a job. Yeah. So I think that was the biggest challenge. It wasn't clients or anything that were thinking that. It was more family and friends. It was like, what's she doing now? And like, I'm gonna do this.
Do you not think though that, I mean, you're such a positive, sunny person? Do you think that attacking life that way is helpful as well?
Yeah.
Got to look on that positive side of things and say, go for it.
Yeah, because if you think, oh, this isn't going to work, then it probably won't. You're on a high nothing straight away, aren't you?
Yeah.
But no, I do like to look at life in a positive lens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the last couple of years have been very tricky personally.
Yeah.
And even my stepdad said to me, I can't remember the phrase he used now, but it was along the lines of, you look at everything so positively, even when your life is going, what's the phrase? Tits up.
Yeah.
That you still look at life and go, well, I'm still here.
It's a lesson to learn and we'll move on.
Exactly. I'm still breathing. I've got all my limbs. I've got a little bit of sanity left. Let's crack on.
I think that's great. And I think that's a great message to any of the listeners today, to be honest. Yeah. That, have that positive attitude. If things come and hit you personally or professionally, to be able to take that and actually say, well, do you know what? I can learn lessons from that. I can do things differently. Or if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Precisely. Yeah. I mean, my life has taken such a positive trajectory since a couple of years ago. I just think, at the time it was devastating, but actually I'm really glad now that it happened.
Yeah.
So, and
absolutely.
Just got to grab life and run with it. Yeah.
And it actually makes you a stronger person.
Yeah.
As you go through these things. And I think, these things are sent to test us and sent to those that are strong enough to deal with them, I believe. So,
I'm glad I've got broad shoulders.
Yeah. So if there was any advice, if somebody listening was thinking about setting up themselves in any kind of business sphere in the private client sector, have you got any particular advice for them?
Yes, it would focus on something that you are passionate about, that you're interested in, because if you do, you'll never work another day in your life. Yeah. This sounds as though I'm downplaying what I do, but I don't feel as though I work. I come into my office every day.
Yeah.
I just love doing what I do. It's not a wake up Monday morning and go, gotta go work. It's like, right, what am I doing this week? So yeah, and just take it slowly.
Yeah.
Don't go headlong into things and chuck a load of money at offices and equipment and whatever. Just take it slowly, build it gradually, build your network of people around you who will champion you and will be your cheerleaders.
Yeah.
And people who believe in you as well. They are a huge bonus, because sometimes when you think, oh, damn it, I could have done that better, they'll be like, no, but look at other things that you did do really well. Yeah. You can't be brilliant at everything, because sometimes when you work on your own, you do think you do become a bit of a legend in your own lunchtime, don't you? But it's only when you go out and speak to others, you go, oh, actually, no, I've still got a lot to learn.
Yeah.
And I'm constantly learning about my job, constantly. Yeah. So, and don't take yourself seriously. Take what you do seriously.
Yes.
But don't take yourself seriously. So just love it. Just love it.
And I think the thing for me, I've always been passionate about the brands that I've worked with, to the point where, you know, if ever I have a farm, I will only ever have a red Massey Ferguson tractor. Can't, do you know what I mean? Because I used to work for them. But, you know, I think passion comes across. And I think, you know, if you're not passionate about what you do, then you should rethink, because I think, you know, any interaction you have with people, if you're passionate about your job, if you believe wholeheartedly in what you do, I think that really comes across. And I think, you know, if you are sitting there thinking, oh, I've got to go into work today, you know, and I did that in my old job. I sat there for years, really not being overly happy, but taking the leap into something new and something that where you are happy. And, you know, I mean, the business that I'm in now, that, you know, the challenge is prioritization. There is just so much opportunity, there is so much demand, that you just think, oh, you know, the challenge is, oh my God, what am I going to do next? And I just think that is great. And I think it comes across in everything you do if you're passionate about what you do.
I gave a talk to a random Women's Institute group a few years ago, and because they wanted to know what I did and how I did it, and how I got into it, and I was talking to them for ages. And afterwards, you know, tea and cake was served, and all these ladies of a certain age went off and were talking, and I could see sort of people looking at me, and one came over. She'd obviously been nominated as the spokesperson. Go on. And she went, "You're obviously really passionate about what you do, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah, I do. I absolutely love what I do." She said, "Oh, it really does come out. It really does come across in how you talk about it." And I went, "And aren't you like Sandy Toxvig?" What? I'm sorry.
Love it.
I'll take that. Thank you.
Got to find if you're her long lost sister or something, maybe. Can you find out? Have you done your own family history? Can you find out if you're related to her?
Do you have any Danish blood in you? No. Okay.
Not that I know of. Yeah. I mean, one thing when somebody runs their own business, it's about work-life balance, isn't it? And sometimes people can be so, you know, you talk about the passion, you can get lost in your work. You know, what is your work-life balance? How have you managed to get that right with what you do?
I'm not going to lie, I'm not a morning person. So I normally rock up about 10ish.
Yeah.
Get coffee.
Yeah.
And then just, you know, dive into it really. For the last 6 years or so, I've noticed that my work tends to just die down a little bit on school holidays, especially summer holidays.
Yeah.
And so I'm sort of sat in the office sometimes going, it's all very quite quiet. What's going on? I must remember to take a day off during the summer holidays, and I've never done it. And so this year I've actually started to take a day off a week, and it's been an absolute joy. It's like, oh, this is really nice. So I'd rather have 4 days of really busy and going at it, and then having that 3-day weekend, than sort of sitting here going, oh, it's really nice outside. I could be outside playing.
Yeah.
But no, I'm sort of here from, say, 10ish up to 5, 6, whenever. Sometimes I'll come in at the weekend. It depends on caseloads. It depends what else I've got going on outside of home. So I am so lucky and thankful that I've got the flexibility to do that.
I mean, we work a 4-day week here, which, you know, has been transformational. To life and work-life balance. And like you say, you do the same amount, if not more. And we've actually found our productivity is increased by doing a 4-day week, because there's so much focus on those 4 days so we can have our 5th day off. You know, but the difference of that 3-day weekend, from a mental health perspective, from a, you know, getting things done perspective, from a life experience perspective, you know, you can get all the chores done on a Friday, and then, you know, spend more time with the kids, or we can go out, or we can do something else. And just having that mental break for 3 days,
Yeah.
I think actually makes you more passionate when you come back in. It makes you more driven to
Yeah.
succeed when you come back in. So
yeah, because you've actually had a little bit of a rest rather than, like you say, getting all the chores done, getting this done, and then whoop, back to work again.
yeah,
So I'm saying I'm so thankful and lucky that I've got the flexibility to be able to come into work a bit later, say one morning, or especially the last sort of few couple of years,
yeah,
have been difficult, and it's knowing that if I don't go to work
yeah,
and get things done, it ain't going to get done.
yeah,
So that's actually propelled me out of bed every morning to go, right, you've got to do it, because
yeah.
otherwise, how are you going to pay your mortgage? Oh yeah. And and some days, especially when it was really not good, it was like, no, it's not happening today.
Yeah.
Take yourself away, open the laptop at home and do stuff at home.
Yeah.
But it's, say sometimes I can come in at weekends, depending on what else I've got going on.
Yeah.
Other times it's not needed. Sometimes I'm here, especially if I'm out of an evening, I'll stay until I go out in town. There's no point going home and then back in again.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, it's just, and having an office that I've had since not March, just gone the March before, was a real game changer. Really,
separate work and
absolutely,
life.
yeah. Instead of the working from home business, I think a lot of people now live at work.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's lovely.
Yeah. Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, we're hybrid, so we come into the office 2 days a week, we have 2 days at home. And I have to say, I wouldn't want to change that. I think getting out and getting to see people and that interaction, I think it is great, and it does separate it out nicely. And the commute almost, doesn't have to be long, but it is the differentiator.
Yeah. And I'm in a building in Norwich, in what they call like the creative quarter of Norwich.
Oh, nice.
So I'm in a building that's got loads of different businesses and offices. So you sort of get to know other people. Again, it's being curious about other people.
Yeah.
Getting to know what other people do and go, well, that's interesting. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have tenant drinks, and no, it's a real lovely little community we've got here.
Lovely. So if we can take you back to young Sam, when you were just starting out, and if she was listening today, what advice would you give her?
Don't rest on your laurels. That was always a thing in my school report. She's good, but she rests on her laurels. Yeah. Oh, that'll do. So yeah, don't rest on your laurels. Just go that extra bit and just see. And especially doing the work I do now, you have to. I could quite easily go, oh well, I had to go at finding them, couldn't find them.
Yeah.
But instead I'll go, right, so I can't find that person. But I wonder if I find somebody else who knows where that person might be. So don't rest on your laurels. And I think believe in yourself.
Yeah.
I've even got a little tattoo on my wrist, believe. Just because sometimes I don't. And I go, no, just trust that you know what you're doing, and just go for it.
Take that initiative.
Don't be afraid, just go for it.
Yeah. Brilliant. Are there any resources? I mean, we talked or newsletters or websites. I mean, you've talked about some of the networking things like local, maybe regional women events or local networking events. Is there anything else that you would recommend getting involved in? Or
I think trying in whatever realm of work you're in or life or whatever interest you've got, try and find groups that have similar interests, and that you can learn from and you can contribute to as well. So it's not just immersing advice, but it's also being able to provide a little bit of inspiration to somebody else. And try and be curious about what you're doing. And just get your name out there as much as you can. Because it is somebody going, oh, actually, hang on a minute. I know somebody who does what you're talking about, so perhaps they might be able to help.
Yeah.
It's just opening your mind, isn't it?
Yeah.
And just looking at what's out there and going, right, okay, can I learn from that?
Yeah.
Yes. And the thing with work is, it being specific to work, there's so many new data sets and records and websites and all sorts of
webinars and podcasts and so much.
Just so many things that are coming available. You go, oh, I didn't know I could find.
Yeah.
Somerset birth records from 1527 random. But now I can. That's interesting. Or I didn't know I could do a bankruptcy search direct through India or Thailand or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just not being tunnel visioned with what you think you know.
Yeah.
Just have a bit of explore, have a little what's out there that I can learn from.
Yeah, I think that is absolutely right. And I think, compared to when I was starting out in my career, there is so much material available now. And just because, I learned from moving job to job that just because you do it one way in one company doesn't mean to say that's how every single person does it. And to be able to learn from best practice and have that curiosity to look for how other people are doing things, how other people are managing processes or doing things to the better of everybody is something that I think is really powerful. And it helps you make change where you are, where you're going to, or knowing what you're looking for that next leap, isn't it?
Yeah. And sometimes it's about finding out how not to do something.
Yeah.
Rather than going, oh, that's a good idea, I'm going to do that. Oh, blimey, no, I wouldn't do it like that. I'm going to... It's just tailoring how you feel comfortable and what you think is authentic to you.
Absolutely.
Because, it's like with, I don't know, estate agents, with all sorts of things, you find a connection with a person, don't you?
People buy people. They buy from people. It is a lot of it is about relationships.
Yeah. And that's what I tend to try and build with ProGen research. It's more that my clients, I try to build a relationship where we're more friends than clients.
Yeah.
So actually they feel as though they're coming to a friend and going, oh, could you just do this for me?
Yeah.
I can. Not a problem at all. And we'll chat about, so what you've been up to, what concerts you've been to, or and there's a work element as well, but there's also that relationship and that friendship as well. I think that's important.
That is really important. Yeah. I agree with you. Now, if anybody who is listening has got a question, please do put it in the chat. I've got a question. Another one, Sam. But if anybody's got anything in particular or any comments they want to make, please use the chat there. I mean, for me, Sam, I would love to do my family history.
Mm-hmm.
Where would you start if somebody wanted to start out on genealogy and look at their family tree? I'm sure loads of people wanted to know the answer to this question, not just me. But how would you start out? How would you go about it? And I'm going to take notes.
Okay. Number one.
Talk
to the family that are around you now.
Talk
to your parents, talk to your aunts and uncles, talk to your grandparents if you've still got them. Talk to anybody who knows or who knew your family from back in the time, because they'll have different interpretation of things, different stories that perhaps your family members have forgotten or tried to forget. And it's having those conversations now and putting them aside, because 9 times out of 10, I'm guilty of it as well. By the time you get to a certain age that you're interested in doing your family history, the people who you should have asked the questions of, they're not here anymore. It's like, damn it, that resource has gone. I still can't find my great grandmother's birth record. Got her death certificate, got her marriage certificate, can't find a birth record.
Wow.
Because, you know, she might have given us a completely different name when she got married.
Wow. Yeah.
And the only person who had her birth certificate was my granddad, who died a few years ago. And obviously he'd got rid of all the documents. And no. Yeah. So it's have the conversations now while you can, and try and get loads of stories about different things, because sometimes it might lead you to, well, hang on, they said a story about when Thingy went to go and work in Wolverhampton, say. Yeah. Because then when you fast forward and you're looking at birth, marriage, death records, say, you know, most of the births occurred in Surrey, but there was one in Wolverhampton, you discount that normally.
Yes.
But you go, oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute, didn't they go to Wolverhampton? So, be curious again.
Yeah.
But be focused as well on what information you do take as gospel.
Yeah.
Because a lot of, well, as I found with my great grandmother, a lot of certificates, ages can be wrong, names can be inserted in certificates incorrectly. So it's be open-minded when you're looking at the information and going, that might not be 100%, but a lot of the time your gut will tell you whether or not it's correct.
Yeah.
Because if you can't prove that isn't the case, then it probably is the case.
Yeah.
So it's having that holistic approach, I suppose, of doing the research.
Yeah.
And it's take your time. Don't race back to, yay, I've traced my ancestors back to Caesar. No. Focus on an area of interest as well. So a lot of people focus on, right, I'm going to go down my father's line because the surname won't change.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in going down the maternal line.
Yeah.
Because, you know, women's history, notoriously written out. Yeah. So it's finding out about what the women in the family did. And yeah, it creates more problems because you've got changes of surnames. But it's very interesting to find out what they did.
Yeah.
As well. So it's having a specific focus on your research, I find really interesting.
Yeah.
And say just be really open-minded. Try and sign up to as many websites or data sources as you can. So like Ancestry and Find My Past are the two biggies, but they both have different data sets. Some overlap, some are unique to each website. Yeah, and just sort of open up your search engine and find out what else is out there that you think that's going to be helpful.
Yep.
And keep really good records.
No.
Keep really good records, because there might be just a little nugget of information you've scribbled down somewhere.
Yeah.
A few months later, you go, hang on a minute, I've seen that name somewhere else. Where have I seen that name? It might have been a witness to a marriage or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, and just trust your gut.
Fascinating. Right, I'm going to challenge you now. It's obviously all the Pippas asking the difficult questions today. So we've got Pippa White. She said, here's a total off the wall one. How would one find the will of a person who died in the USA about 150 to 200 years ago? Is there the equivalent of a probate register?
No.
Oh, there we go. Very simple answer.
well, state by state in America, completely different.
Yeah.
So say the person you're looking for died in Missouri, try and find a resource it's normally the courts in the States where you go to for probate documents. So long ago, it might not be there. It's probably more likely to be in a record office. Yeah. So find a researcher who specialises in Missouri or wherever. Yeah, because they're on the ground. They can go to the resource and actually try and find it. And yeah, you might have to pay them.
Yeah.
But otherwise you're not going to have the information.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's yeah, focus your interest on somebody who might be able to help you.
Brilliant. Thank you. I've got another one from Emma. She said, my parents were both in and out of care. They have very limited knowledge of their families and all their parents are passed away now. So all we have is a few names here and there. I've always wanted to build up my family tree and find out where I come from. One side is Irish, I believe, but I've always thought it to be an impossible task. Is this something you have success with much? Your job sounds great. It must be so interesting.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. I'm a very lucky girl doing what I do. Irish research, if you're in the UK, is notoriously difficult because records online hit and miss. But again, I have a very good Irish researcher who she's on the ground, she knows where to go to. Even with, you say you've only got a few names here and there, but even with just the slightest little bit of information, you can pick something up and open up a whole family tree. The other thing that I've done is my dad was adopted, and he doesn't want to know anything about his birth family.
Yeah.
Obviously, I do, because I'm a nosy bugger, and I'm at the age now where doctors are asking me questions about my family history.
That's right. Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. So I've actually done the DNA ancestry test.
Oh, I've done that as well.
Yeah, and a woman got in touch with me, and she was actually my half aunt.
Wow.
Yeah, so that opened up, and his line is from Ireland. So it's a huge Irish line that I've now uncovered.
Wow.
Because of science, technology has moved on, that we can do that. And people get in touch with you if they've got shared DNA and they've got shared trees, and you can share that information amongst family as well. So even if you've only got one or two little pieces of information, really try and hone down and find out as much as you can about that person. So try and find a birth record or a marriage record, because that will then give you information that then opens things up. Yeah. And you can take it from there. Yeah. But I'm more than happy to help if I can.
Brilliant. Pippa said thank you. She's had a client who's asked, so thank you for that. And Emma's come back and said that's the exact reason she would like to find out, as medical things are coming up. And so that's amazing advice. Thank you so much. Well, I have to say, Sam, I could sit here and talk to you all day. Everybody could listen to you all day as well. But it's been absolutely fascinating to chat with you. I'm sure everybody's enjoyed it. So for me, thank you. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
To you and everybody listening, have a lovely Christmas and New Year. And we'll be announcing the next interviewee, the next victim, early in the new year. So please, if you want to be involved, then please let us know. But yeah, Sam, absolutely fascinating. I don't think I'm going to be able to wait till I retire. I think I'm going to have to get on with it. So I might be sending you lots of questions.
Give me a call. We'll get on with it.
Okay, brilliant.
Cool.
Smashing. Thank you so much. I hope you've I hope you've really enjoyed today as much as I have. There's lots of nice comments coming on the chat, Sam, saying thanks, and my first event after a few full starts, so it's been really lovely. Loads of them coming in, and we'll send them all through to you so you can see that. But
thank you very much.
You so much. Have a lovely rest of your day, Sam, and everybody else. Bye bye now. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye bye.